Dear God, thank you for this day. Thank you for having me be here tonight to record. Thank you for dying on the cross for my house, for freedom, for my future, for the future of everyone. Please be with me. To recall what I've read for these past few months. Amen. What's up? Christian Stereotype here. I wasn't actually planning on recording tonight, but I was reading and I got that urge to finally record. So yeah, I was probably gonna record next week, but decided to go. I guess maybe the Holy Spirit over the feeling I was feeling. Just go and record tonight. I'm gonna try to keep this as brief as possible because it's late, and I want to get to bed early, and I want to go watch TV with my mom, and I just have stuff to do tomorrow morning. And yeah, so just a very brief update. To anyone who actually watches these things, I haven't been uploading because the 3 videos that I had uploaded recently, I had procrastinated heavily on editing them. I would fall back into sin and be with the attitude of, well, until I get myself together, I won't upload, and stuff like that. So pretty much the past maybe 3, 4 months, that's where I had been at for a long time. So, but I always read. And yeah, I maybe missed 3 nights that I didn't read. One night was like, cause I had gone to an event with my mom's school called Outdoor School, and like the night we had finally gotten back, I just passed out on the little what do you call it, air mattress that I slept on. We stayed at my godmother's house, so yeah, I just passed on the air mattress. So I didn't read that night. One night I had tried to listen to it. I listened to like one part of it. So I didn't count that night, and I forgot the third one. But yeah. So through the past months, I'd either been listening to it, and a lot of times I would fall asleep, but I still kind of count that because like I at least got through it in my subconscious. But so if you don't count that, that's fine. I guess then if you didn't count that, then I would missed like maybe for a few weeks. But yeah, I always made sure that I listened to it if I was just really tired, or I would get up early and listen to the rest. And yeah, and I couldn't, and I would constantly feel horrible when I didn't finish it. I'd feel guilty. I'd get mad at myself because like this is the only thing I've ever actually really tried to stick with. And I don't want this to be a repeat cycle of me trying to do something and it constantly failing. So yeah, but that's basically where I've been at these past months. Just procrastinated. Then my thing was like, I don't want to make any more videos until I've uploaded the 3. Then I have reason not to upload the 3, and I would procrastinate there and stuff like that. So yeah, just guilt about sin and stuff. So I'll just have a bad mindset about it. And yeah, but so I guess if we can get into what I read tonight. And I've been reading, like I said, I've been reading or listening these nights. Reading for now, I'm trying to make sure I just read it, so I don't end up falling asleep to listening to it. But yeah, just take a drink of apple juice every time I say yeah. And so, but when I read, I would constantly keeping notes, and for the past 2 months maybe I've been slowing down the notes, so there's like not like a ton of notes because for now I'm just gonna go through a lot of the notes I wrote because there's a lot of them. So I'm just gonna go through like maybe like a handful of the notes and then like maybe stop and just talk about what I read. And tonight I read Luke's account of the death and resurrection, and it was strange. Like I'm getting to this thing that's happening to me now. Or sometimes I'll just be reading really, really quickly, almost to the point where I can't keep track, keep keep pace with myself. And other nights I get distracted very easily, so I ended up reading it reading it until like maybe 3 whole hours just trying to focus. But tonight my brain just went really, really fast at reading it. So I'm gonna try and remember what I read. I'm sorry if I don't look at the camera. Um, I'm trying to get to my notes on my phone, and I'm trying to make sure I talk a lot so I don't have to edit for 4 hours. Trying to get rid of the parts of which I am standing there like someone who forgot how to use his vocal cords correctly. Let's see here. Go to J. I got a notification. What's the notification about? Arthur Michael wants to be my friend on your version. I have no idea who this is, but they are from Kampala, Uganda. I don't know this person. I don't know who this is. Post a comment. Should I accept Arthur Michael's friend request? Post a comment, and then we'll come back to that. Okay, we'll go into my notes. Yes, notes. There we go. So I have like a lot of notes. Oh wow. Go over Luke's account. I'll just go over tonight what I thought. I guess I want to talk about maybe the thief on the cross, the story of I'll talk about attitude. So there are two attitudes that I find when Jesus is on the cross. There's the attitude of the thief and the attitude of the other guy. The attitude of the other guy is just very self-absorbed and very ungrateful and very angry and very irritated when he says stuff like, if you're the Son of God, take us both down and free yourself and us. It's very he's in a bad situation, and he's very grumpy, he's very irritated. And this other guy who he just talks to, he says, do you not fear God? We deserve for what we've done. So he sees himself, he acknowledges what he's done wrong, and he acknowledges that Jesus is right, and he acknowledges that Christ is pure and innocent. And so you have those two attitudes, and only one of those attitudes got someone to heaven, because he simply asked, remember me. And Jesus not only said, I'll remember you, but you'll be with me in heaven. He promised him that today. He promised him, on this day I promise, you will be with me in paradise. So that's really cool. Yes. So yeah, attitude is really everything, which is what I try to do when I'm depressed. I try to just not get angry at God or angry at other people. Just take that depression to God, take that attitude to God, and He'll make you new. I find it interesting that I'll talk about this in other videos, that like in different accounts, Jesus is always more concerned, like the day before, like the night before, the night he's being arrested, the night he's going to get arrested. Jesus is always concerned about where his disciples are. He's always concerned about them. He's always making sure that they pray, that they know that he's gonna come back, and it's a very self-sacrificing moment when he's more focused on them than his situation. He wants them to be okay. That's what we should be. We should be focused on other people, not so focused on ourselves or what we need, but try to look out for somebody else. That's what Jesus always did. He always looked out for not just his situation, but the situation of other people as well. And yeah, and he was really looking out for them, even though he knew that they were going to betray him, that they were going to run away. He still cared about them. He still prayed for them. He still visited them after he came back. And yes, I find that Luke's account is probably the hardest to read because it's, I think, besides John, it's the most lengthiest. It has a lot of um excess details. Talks about him when he goes before Pilate and Herod, and I find the fact that Pilate sent him to Herod very interesting because, like, Pilate's perspective, I think, is like, I'm tired of Pharisees coming to me with all these ridiculous problems. I'll just give it to Herod. And it's interesting because the Bible says that wanted Herod wanted Jesus only to see a miracle, but and Jesus wouldn't give him one. He wouldn't even talk to him. And I feel like had Herod actually wanted a relationship of God or in talking to Jesus, Jesus would have opened up. But Herod only wanted to see a trick. And I feel like we can get in that mindset of only coming to Christ to see something happen instead of actually wanting to know Him. We can get caught up in wanting the blessings instead of the blesser, which is a problem I personally have. It's a problem all of us. I'm not saying that we're like Herod, but it's a mindset we can get into sometimes, and that's not the mindset we want to be in. And yeah, Jesus is going to give us blessings because um, He loves to give gifts to His friends, to His children. But it's important that it's more important that we know Him on a personal level, that you know Him on a more detailed level in your heart, and that's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to know Christ, and hopefully we can get to know Him together. And yeah, but yeah, that's Luke's account. It's very talks about the road to Amos. Some I think it's pronounced Emmaus. I just say Amos. And I like the idea of Jesus keeping himself hidden from the two disciples. That the two disciples that are on the way to Amos. I kind of like the idea of just him giving them the chance to be up and honest about how they're feeling without knowing that Christ is there. And I like the idea of just him teaching them all the stuff, encouraging them. And yeah, I think that's probably I think one of the coolest parts about Luke's account is the road to Emmaus, is the fact that Jesus went out of his way to put them in a place where they can be comfortable about talking how they were feeling, and then and that they can just express their sorrow, and then he can express to them, he can let them know that they were foolish for not believing and slow to believe, because they were talking about they in the road to the Emmaus story. They were kind of like, I guess, up in between deciding whether or not they believed that he was resurrected, because they had seen they had heard about what the women had saw, what Mary and the others had saw, that he was the angels, so, and that he was alive. So they were kind of going back and forth on believing it or not. And so Jesus in the end, like the skies, had told them stuff like what I've been in the Psalms and all the other things that talk about Christ. This is what I want to get into now. I really want to get into the prophecy that's talked about Christ, the stuff in the Psalms. I really want to get into that. Other things that talk about Christ. And so yeah, and then they asked him in. He made it look like they were gonna go. He made it look like he was gonna go further, but they asked him to eat with. They asked him to eat with them, and so when they broke bread, then he disappeared, and they got to go back and tell his disciples, and they didn't believe. And then Jesus came, and they thought he was a ghost, and he's like, chill out, and he told them, ghosts don't have flesh and bone, which is something that I want to talk about later on this channel. And just like, and he told them his hands and his feet, and so that they know. And then he goes up into heaven later, I think at Galilee, I think. And then he says, wait till you see signs from on high, I'll empower you. And yes. So I'm gonna cut it at 15 minutes. Talk about his love. Jesus loves you. He loves me. He loves us despite our mistakes. He knows that we're gonna make mistakes in our lives. He knew that the disciples would leave him, and he still cared about them. I want to talk more about the idea of him knowing that the disciples were going to leave, but he still prayed for them. We'll talk about that next time I read John's account. I think out of all of the accounts, John is my favorite. There's a lot of interesting details. But yeah, getting the feel to wrap it up. Post me prayer requests down below. I hope you can hear me clearly and that the volume's enough so I don't have to edit around for like 5 hours. But yeah, I'm gonna edit the other videos because I know the captions are way off. And yeah, so post your prayer requests down below. Feel free anytime to join me in reading the death and resurrection